All right, today we are going to talk about Adolescence 101. Just give you an overview of what it means to be a counselor to adolescent students. What this information is really going to help you with is when you see a student doing something that makes you go, why in the world are you doing this? This is going to give you information to know how to best minister to them during those times. You're going to see students dress in certain ways, act in certain ways, behave in certain ways, say certain things. And this information is going to give you the tools to be able to best kind of address those. Well, let's start off with a definition of adolescence. Adolescence begins with biology and it ends with enculturation. Um, it begins when your body says, hey, I'm an adult, I'm a grown-up. After the time of puberty, your body is able to physically reproduce and create new human life. That's when your body says, I'm an adult. But it doesn't end. Adolescence in our culture does not end till the broader society, the larger culture around you says, hey, you're an adult. You're acting like an adult. You behave like an adult. You're taking on adult responsibilities. You know who you are. You're presenting yourself as an adult. In our culture, think about all the different benchmarks that we use, whether it's 18, 21, 25 when you can rent a car by yourself. We're not quite sure when somebody is an adult in our culture. That's part of our problem. We don't know when that other bookend of adolescence is completed. We know when it starts. We can look at puberty and say, okay, they're an adult. But it doesn't end till your body, till the broader culture says you're an adult. Well, there are three basic tasks of the adolescent journey that determine adulthood, right? Be able to answer that enculturation side of the definition of adulthood. The students need to be able to answer three specific questions. The first question is a question of who am I? It's a question of identity. It's being able to kind of know who you are and the way that God has created to be. And you think about some of the things that you're going to see students wear. You're going to see the way that they do their hair. Some of you female counselors perhaps will watch your campers change outfits 2 or 3 times during the day. Trying on different identities, if you will. You may see certain types of piercings or shaved heads or colored hair or whatever. You're going to see a multitude of ways that kids try on identities. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's part of the process. I don't say that to kind of demean those students' behaviors. When I was 15 and a half, I was working for McDonald's. The first paycheck, I bought a pair of Vans because I wanted to identify with the surf culture. And yet I lived in Houston. I was 2 hours away from a beach, much less no surfing beaches, about 5 or 6 hours away from really good surfing beaches. Nevertheless, that was an identity I wanted to try on. This is my senior picture. Those of you who know me, I'm bald. And so this was, again, another way I tried on identities. You'll see students trying on all sorts of different identities, perhaps through music, carrying around a guitar, riding a skateboard around campus, whatever, body art, tattoos, friends. Think of the ways perhaps you tried on identities as well. And again, I don't want you to say that as a, hey, you should fit into this square peg. I don't want you to be able to do that. But I do want you to think about perhaps what are some of the sad ways perhaps that students have that the world has tried to tell them this is the kind of identity you possess. If you're an adolescent female, every time you go to the grocery store and see a magazine cover, see a billboard or something, there are certain ways that they're trying to say this is who you should be. There's lies that they're telling. Okay, so that's the first one. Second question is, it's a question, do I matter? Do my choices matter, right? Because adolescents are wanting to act and have the responsibilities and take on the roles of being an adult, of being grown up. Whether it's driving, after school jobs, being able to have a later curfew or no curfew whatsoever, those are the responsibilities that adults have that they're wanting to try out. And our role as adults in the broader community, in the community of faith especially, is to say, all right, come alongside. Let's let you try out your gifts. Let you try out your talents. Let you try out being who you think God shaped you to be. That is a great thing we can do when we hand off and allow the students around us to use their giftedness. Far often, though, in the faith community, we don't let them um, do those tasks. We say, we're the grown-ups, you watch us do that. And they're competent, they're capable, but we haven't given them that. This is also one of the reasons why so many teens deal and experiment with alcohol and sex, is because they're trying out those behaviors, saying, hey, can you trust me with these behaviors? There are times as adults we need to kind of say no, but most of the time there's a lot of things adolescents do that we don't let them do. And that's going to be one of the ways that we're going to try to defer to you to use some discernment and wisdom to give students some responsibility. And the last question that a student needs to answer before they can be an adult is, where do I fit? It's a question of belonging. I'm a married man with 2 adolescent teenage girls. You're not going to find me on a Thursday night dancing on the bar tops of Coyote Ugly. First of all, that'd just be weird. But secondly, that's just not where I fit. That's not where I belong. And impact for your campers is going to be one of the biggest things that they're going to be looking for, is fitting in, belonging. Does anyone care about me? Does anyone even notice me? And it's your job to be able to kind of say, hey, here's Johnny, here's Mary, here's Susan, here's Mark. I got to make sure they fit in here. And that they're wanted, they're loved, they're drawn in. Your job is going to be kind of like, have an imaginary lasso with those kids who feel like they're alone, grabbing them with that lasso and pulling them in. That's going to be one of the greatest ministries you can provide. It's going to be easy for you to fit in with the kids who can easily answer this question of belonging. Although all of us, if you go back to adolescence, you know that you have dealt with not feeling like you fit in. We've all gone through those phases, and being at a place like Impact where there's 1,000 other students here can still be one of the loneliest places for your student. So you have to have a keen eye looking out for those students who don't feel like they belong and fit in. And this is going to come in through one-on-one conversations, making sure someone's sitting around them, that you are looking out for them, that you can reserve a space for them and have them sitting with your group at all times. So those are the 3 questions. Who am I? Do I matter? Do my choices matter? And where do I fit? So I want you to think about, how do you see teens trying to answer these questions? When you think about the teenagers either you've been working with this summer, or the teenagers you know and love and already care about, or perhaps some of the teens in your church, how do you see them answering those questions? How do you see them wanting to kind of try on different personas or different identities, right? How do you see them wanting to try out their gifts or talents and really matter in their community, in the groups that they're a part of? Now, sometimes this is easy to see with the students who kind of step up to leadership roles and those kinds of things and say, hey, I'm gifted, I'm talented in this area, I'm going to fit over here. But there's so many other areas where teens can fit in, right? And where do they belong? Where are teens welcome? Are they welcome in their churches, in their communities, in their families? You're going to have students who don't know how to answer some of these questions. And these are going to be your ministry this week, is to come alongside them and help them answer these questions. Think about perhaps how you can help them answer these questions. Answer the questions of identity, saying, you know what, I see God working in you in this way, because there's so many lies about who I am that they're sold day after day after day. You're going to have to answer this for them from the perspective of God. Who am I? And you answer that for them. You know, Mary, I see you as beautifully gifted and talented. You have a lovely singing voice. You have a magnanimous heart. You have a giving spirit. Hey, Mark, I see you as one of the most loyal and caring friends out there. You start to define them the way Jesus defines them, right? Think about the ways that the world around them, the lies that they're taught about, do I matter? Do my choices matter? Where they're told, you're just a kid. You're just a kid. You're not good for anything yet until you're grown up. Where you can say, oh man, that is so fantastic. Think about 3 ways you can encourage and really compliment your students every day. Hey, John, man, you're so easy to talk to. You're gifted. You're lovely. I love the way that you worship. And you matter. I'm so glad you're a part of this youth group. I see the way that you help out those around you. Show them that they matter by complimenting them 2 or 3 times a day, each one of your campers. And thirdly, where do I fit? The question of belonging. Think about the ways that the world tells them, here's where you fit. Man, you don't matter, you don't care. There's so many things about adolescence where the world says, we don't want to have anything to do with you except for your dollars, or we're going to wait for you to be an adult. Those are the ways a lot of times that they're told in their lives, day-to-day lives. But you can tell them, you matter here, you matter now. I would gather that in their faith communities, 90% of what they see in their worship times, 95, 98, 99% of what they see in their worship times is only adults. So helping students fit in, belong, and know that they matter. That's going to be your ministry this week. Thanks so much for these 10 minutes of your life. And remember to just kind of be thinking about ways you can help students answer those during the week of Impact. We'll come back to this information during training, both on the quiz we'll give you as well as just kind of processing this a little more in our groups. Thanks for your time.